I think it's something that people have been paying attention more and more. Fashion is, I mean, the fashion industry, and I think it's the entire chain connected to that, is one of the biggest pollutant in the world. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about the dark side of fashion, like why we should care, why people should be aware?
Totally. I mean, fashion is the third biggest contributor to global pollutions. It's bigger than shipping and air travel.
Wow.
So that's quite staggering. You know, you give people JIT for their private jets, but if you're shopping at, if you're over-consuming at fast fashion brands, you know, who are you to talk? So obviously in an ideal world we get rid of both. But the other thing is the overproduction. It's just staggering how much is produced. It's the equivalent of 26 new items per person on the planet every year is produced.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a lot of items.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think the average person doesn't get 26 new items a year.
Yeah.
And you think, how many people there are on the planet? That's crazy. So there's enough has been produced, and we now need to just work with what we've got. And that's where we're trying to just offer another life to all these pieces of clothes.
And maybe also like another way to shop and to think about what we want to add to our closets, because I mean, this is something I've noticed, and it really does make my blood boil, these fast fashion hauls that are super popular on TikTok and Instagram. And I know a lot of it is just people are not aware of how that contributes to the problem. But let's say for the audience that buys fast fashion, that buys into the whole like big haul trend, or who feel like that's actually the more economical way to shop, how would you have that conversation with them?
So it's funny you say the word economical, because that I actually got into secondhand because of economical reasons. My initial step into it wasn't actually
for the planet.
19-year-old me started buying clothes from charity shops to flip them on Depop to make money. So for me it was like, do the selling to make money. And then as I got a little bit more disposable income, I thought, I'm a bit of a magpie. I love brands, couldn't afford them. And so I found all these little secondhand boutiques around London. eBay, I'd be always trawling my favourite brands, and it was, for me, it was accessing things I couldn't afford, and I got such a kick out of it.
Do you get like an endorphin?
Oh, totally. Because I'd be knowing that I'm wearing a brand that someone else has bought for an extra €0. So that's great.
And there's something about the hunt and like finding that perfect piece, because it doesn't come in every size.
The whole thing is just a winner. But the other thing then I discovered was that anything I bought secondhand, I could sell for the same price I bought it. And I was thinking, my wardrobe is becoming net zero. And what I realised was that these items hold value. They are an asset. My wardrobe is an asset. You know, if you buy new and then you walk out the store, it value depletes
immediately.
You take the tag out, its value's halved, but then it plateaus. And so that's where I've come in on the plateau and then stayed on the plateau. And now I do not spend any of my salary on my wardrobe. My wardrobe generates revenue for my wardrobe.
It pays for itself.
Totally.
Yeah.
So having conversations with those sorts of people that claim that fast fashion is more economical, I would argue actually you are investing money and you're never seeing that money again.
Right.
Whereas you might think that it's more cash up front, but it's an investment.
Yeah.
And you can get that cash back.
I like that approach. That's really smart.
Well, that's how I got into it. And then
that's how you feed your addiction in a really functional, healthy way.
Totally. Well, and this is a whole other thing, actually. I was at a panel earlier today and we were talking about whether resale continues to fuel overconsumption and perhaps even perpetuates it more, because then it's guilt-free. And yes, I mean, to an extent, you could argue that. I think at the moment our battle is overproduction.
Yeah.
And I think they are directionally proportional, so that if you do combat overproduction, there will be a lag, but hopefully then overconsumption will be reduced too.
So it's about reducing because it's not the demand of clothes that's the issue, it's more the demand of new clothes.
Totally.
If people increase their demand of new to me clothes, right? That secondhand, then I mean we don't have a problem because we're just everything's in the same cycle.
And in a utopia, in an ideal world, we would all have 2 t-shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, a pair of trainers, and that's just how we'd live our life every day. That would be the most ideal situation, that you just rotate your t-shirts and you have a very, very, very bare wardrobe. But it's not realistic. It's not the world we live in. You know, the demand for fashion, this demand has brewed over decades. It's just been continually building. And I think we need to be realistic about what we're dealing with. And it's that sort of thing, if you can't beat them, join them. You've just got to adapt to the current climate and try and create better options for the demand that is there.